On this episode of Unsung Heroes, we're out at West 14th and Carr, where new flashing pedestrian signs are helping make this busy street safer after a pedestrian was recently struck by a car. Lakewood's transportation engineers are behind projects like these. Today, we're going to be talking to Matt Duncan, whose work goes way beyond the office. Let's go check it out. Hey Matt, thanks for joining us out here today. Can you explain your role as a transportation engineer, especially when it comes to crash investigations?
We basically take the existing roadways, we try to make them more efficient and more safe. And so that last part of it, the safety side, the best way to do that, of course, is truly understanding the crashes that we're trying to prevent. And that's why partnerships like the one we have with Lakewood Police is so important, because you just can't get those details off of a spreadsheet. You have to have those conversations, you have to work with their investigations. So ultimately, that's my primary job, understanding what happened. And only then, once we understand all those details from them, can we start coming up and crafting solutions that will actually get to the root of the problem.
So can you explain that partnership a little bit more? Like, what does that look like? What do you receive from PD? How do you take in that information? What do you do with it? What are your next steps after a serious crash?
We rely on state data, CDOT data. But the downside of state data is it usually lags about 3 years behind. What we ended up doing now is Lakewood Police, anytime there's a death, they notify the state usually within 48 hours that it's occurred. They now include me on those emails. So immediately, usually within 48 hours, I can come to the scene and I can get a good understanding of the lighting, all those details that would be lost, even in 6 months.
So we're here on 14th and Carr.
Yep.
And we just installed new signalized crossing signs. Can you tell me a little bit more about that project, what led to it potentially, or why this was one of the solutions?
The signs that we put in, we think of them more as a warning sign. So it's not a traditional sign that warns you of a crosswalk. Towards the late last year, I guess, we had a man late at night. He was pushing a cart and he was within the roadway and he was having a mental health episode. He was in an unlit area. The driver never saw him. And he died of his injuries soon after. That particular crash, and working with Detective Strandberg and some other folks, I became aware that a lot of our mental health services, our outreach services, our housing services really are concentrated in this small area. Most of these incidents also happen at night. So putting all of this together, we were aware that there was a component of these crashes that required a nighttime solution, if you will. These particular signs have flashing lights around them, so they really jump out at the driver at night. And that's a reminder to the driver driving down 14th that this is a nighttime hazard, and to be on guard, to be aware, not to be distracted. And that helps people react a little bit more quickly to the unexpected.
So we've seen you in a few traffic videos before. What keeps you so passionate about projects like these, especially when, maybe they're a little too frequent?
Yeah, carrying a little bit of those tragedies with us motivates us to prevent future ones from happening.
The other side of this partnership is with the Lakewood Police. I am joined today with Sergeant Barefoot of the LPD traffic team. Hi, Sergeant. How are you?
Good, thank you.
So Matt was telling me earlier that this partnership between transportation and LPD traffic is really important. What does that look like for you?
So we are focused primarily on enforcement at the police department. And one of the things that we incorporate into this is we get our city partners, specifically Matt at the traffic engineering department, and we can start our information sharing way faster than ever possible before. And it allows us to share things that aren't traditionally shared between engineers and police officers. One example of that I'm very fond of is that we're able to take the interviews that we do on scene, which don't always get translated into ones and zeros in data, and provide that real world information about the way drivers behave, the way pedestrians behave, and we get to provide a bigger picture so that when Matt goes and works from the engineering side, in addition to just the raw data, he's got an idea of what's actually going on in people's minds, which we don't normally report, and that's the really special part about our collaboration.
This is a really amazing partnership. Is this common amongst other police departments?
So I wouldn't say that we are unique nationwide with this, but when we look at our law enforcement partners across the metro area, we are definitely a leader in this category. This kind of information sharing kind of breaks the silos that traditionally exist in law enforcement and allows us to form the relationships to break those communication barriers down. And that is something that we in the city of Lakewood do, I would say, better than anyone else in the metro area.
I joined the city around 2014. But really, we started seeing these declines in 2017. Our injury crashes, our pedestrian crashes, we're hovering around 2004, 2005 numbers. That's really cool. No, this is super unique in our region. Lakewood is leading. We've got other folks looking to Lakewood for the things that we're doing. These partnerships with law enforcement, these partnerships with public health. So it's cool. It's fun. It makes me want to come to work every day.
Matt and Sergeant Barefoot are just two of the many dedicated professionals working together to keep Lakewood streets safer for everyone. And while new signals and better lighting are just part of the solution, it's also up to all of us drivers to be alert, especially at night. If you have a traffic safety concern, please report it using our Request Lakewood system at requestlakewood.org. See you next time.